living in Oregon, being more conservative and having all of the laws coming into play. I mean, like laws that I would totally disagree with in like a fundamental personal liberty thing. Like case in point, Oregon has this ban. It's not all of Oregon. I think that some cities have the ability to reject it, but there's a ban on plastic reusable bags.
Oh,
right?
yeah, okay.
You can go to a convenience store and they won't give you you go up to the counter with all these different things and they won't give you a bag. In some cases you can buy a bag,
right?
And an extra nickel or 10 cents depending on what the
some people don't even offer anything.
I know. And you know why?
Because it costs them.
Well, because they have to report it to DEQ, Department of Environmental Quality.
Is that right?
Yeah. So the DEQ, part of this law is that the DEQ has now been mandated to track the bags that have been purchased. So some of these, mom and pop shops or, the convenience stores where they just don't offer bags at all, it's because they don't want to have to document and report it to DEQ.
Well, this little Cottrell shop, little market down there.
Yeah.
Whenever I go down there, they always have little boxes, and they just throw all of the stuff in the box.
In a box, yeah. Yeah, isn't that interesting?
It's nice because they're going to just recycle it, and it's a problem for them anyway. So I appreciated it.
Yeah, that's actually a really good way to get around it. The the bigger stores, they have to either charge you for a reusable bag, either a plastic one that's of a certain thickness or whatever, or it's a a cloth bag, or in some cases paper bags, but they still have to charge you for it. They can't just give it to you. Now, while we're in COVID, a lot of stores have just not worried about it, and it's interesting. So I like to shop at Fred Meyer and do the self-checkout, right? And they always have this spot where you can mark down how many bags that you are purchasing, right? And for them, it's great because then it's an automated system that they could report to DEQ, whenever the reporting time is due, right? That's all in the computer. But the reality is that how many people are actually saying that they're buying the bag and they're just using the bag and walking off with it because the checkout person is not checking, not monitoring whether you're taking, the nickel bag,
so but,
without claiming it.
Well, so the reason why, plastic bags are bad for the environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
are they? I don't know the whole story. I know that's what the claim is.
Well, that's the reason for banning all these bags. I thought, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just bull to me because you could buy them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I thought they were bad. Well, you could pay for that.
Yeah, isn't it funny? It's really about government controlling what the population does. Yeah, right. Yeah, because the bag thing, the burden on the store is really the reporting side of it, right? Because anytime that a bag is purchased, they got to report it. Well, the reality is that there's also then a requirement for what the bag is made from, right? It has to be, a certain percentage of post-consumer recyclable or whatever. But it also has to be
it's still bad.
A certain thickness, right? Well, the reusable bags are so thin. Like a single bag uses very, very little plastic. The old reusable, or single-use ones. The reusables are much thicker, much heavier duty because they're going to be reused, right? So the amount of plastic that goes into a new bag, or not a new bag, right? Because it's sort of a recycled thing. There's way more plastic in volume than the other single-use bags.
Yeah, but in 20 years, it would be like it would make sense.
Yeah,
you just have to use it.
Yeah, but
you could probably do the math and see how many thousands of times.
But what I find interesting is that as far as consumer behavior, you get caught off guard, right? Because you go to the store and you forget a bag. Well, now I got to buy the bag, right? Which is a new behavior I have to learn to do, right? So there's an impact in what my behavior then is, but my behavior when I take the bag home hasn't changed, right?
Right.
So I'm still getting the same number of bags. Now they're thicker with more plastic, but my behavior when I get them home is I put them in the little storage thing because I use plastic bags around the house for other things, right? And once they get either too torn up or they get dirty or whatever, then I'll throw them out. So I do reuse. Doesn't matter what the bag is, I still reuse. Even the paper bags, I still reuse unless the bottom falls out by the time I get home. But my behavior at home hasn't changed. It's really just at the store. But now we've got these bags that have a lot more plastic in them, which are going to take more time to decompose or whatever. And the whole argument was that, plastic bags are bad for the environment.
Right. But I want to remind people, old asses like myself, remember that the same people or type of the people or organization was saying the same thing about paper bags a long time.
Right.
They're bad. We're killing forests. We got to stop it. We use these bags. They're the ones that presented it. I mean, come on, to replace those.
Yeah.
And I will say this: I remember our family. We didn't go march and fight it, but we fought it. We didn't like it. We hated it. That we liked our paper bags.
Yeah.
And then it took a while before we could even have an option of both, or And I'm like, people need to balance things. They just go drastic like a pendulum, one way or another drastically.
Yeah. Well,
but because they're going to ban these, they're trying to ban these plastic. Well, guess what? They're gonna swing back the other way and say nothing but plastic, or they're gonna go back.
Well, and again, it's the
we
idea. And we should go. Well, maybe, I don't know. We got enough marijuana farms out here. We could totally go hemp.
No,
right?
just hemp.
Well, you can.
That way, it's natural.
But then you can get double the bang. So
yeah, you can't. You don't get high off of hemp.
No, I'm just saying whatever the extra pieces, they can turn that into paper.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You can do all kinds of things.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Sorry, I thought you meant you get high and you can make bags.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So the anyway, so the idea of paper bags, I kind of find it interesting because paper bags, obviously come from paper, which is a wood product, which is a renewable product, right? I
didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true, Dave. It's
Thank
true.
You. It's enlightening.
Learn everything right here on the show. So anyway, so I think that's a good thing, right? It's a renewable thing, right? That should be something that people support. Well, the argument is that it takes too many trees, right? We're cutting down our forests, and then we're depleting the forest, which is the items that have the tendency to clean the environment and provide homes for the spotted owl and all these other things, right? Okay. So there's this, this pressure to, be natural, but then this pressure not to destroy the livelihood of our animals, right? Well, you introduce plastics, and plastics are easy to make. They take up a whole lot less space, right? In some cases, they are a lot less expensive.
And they last forever.
And and sometimes they do, but I think that we could also change some of the materials that are used in plastics and have them decompose faster. I know they've done some of those innovations in other materials, right? But it just seems like the pendulum that you're talking about is constant. Like everyone keeps going back and forth. It's the same arguments that we have with electricity, right? Oh, you got to go natural. Oh, you got to go solar or wind, right? And then we got to get rid of the dams because the dams, restrict fish populations and all this other stuff. But the dams are that's one of the best ways of making hydro is one of the best ways because it's constant, right? I mean, solar is only a certain number of hours during the day, same as wind. And then of course you've got all these batteries that you have to have if you're going to have something that's kind of off the grid. But there's always these environmental pushes, right? And it's not really the free market that's making the balance of those things. And I'm a free market person, and I think the ban on plastic bags and even straws, right? Straws are banned too. I think those are things that the government should get out of the way and let the marketplace take care of. If we're having environmental, impacts, there are ways to deal with those things without the government coming in and saying, no, we're going to ban this, even though banning the bag really hasn't decreased the number of plastics that are getting into oceans or streams or ground.
That's because they haven't banned the bags. That's the... You just have to buy them,
right? They're just making it more
that's the
difficult.
Thing that just ticks me off is nobody has a solution. The solution is you pay money.
Yeah. Well, but if you look at it from the other side of it, is really, are the bags, are they causing the biggest environmental impact? Is that something we should be focusing our energy on? Because to create a policy, right, a law, requires a certain amount of resources from a lot of different people, right? And then to have a government agency like DEQ to track it and report on it, that's another thing, right? Plus all the advertising, right? Because when the ban the bag thing sort of came out, there was a lot more advertising about it. And then the cost to the businesses to change the type of bags that are being used.
Well,
and
you said before, if they're being forced to, companies have to, send in a log of how many people are taking the bags.
Right.
Sounds like a pretty serious issue, right? I mean, how about this? Sounds like they're making it to be a pretty serious issue. I'll say that.
Yeah.
If they're going to do all of that, unless there's something deeper.
Well,
what the hell's going on?
I think it's a lot of it's a power thing. I think government just likes to be in power and control and be able to do things because they have the ability to do things. I don't know if the bags is like the biggest environmental issue. I mean, to me, there's a lot of resources being put into this law that if we didn't have the law and we took that money, could we put that towards something that actually would have an impact? Like maybe it's a cleanup thing, right?
Well, that won't have an impact because they're not like literally if they were to stop, literally, and take all the plastic bags, you can't buy them, you can't use them, you're not making new ones, but it's going to get deep, no garbage bags for your liners for your
right. Yeah, where does it stop?
But I guarantee you'll see something different for sure. But you can't just say that you're done. You can't just say that you're going to ban bags, and then they're sitting right there. You just buy them.
Right.
It's not going to remedy anything.
Yeah.